Very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome to St. Angel's Public School Bagpat online economics classes. As you know that we are working from our home. So my dear students, today we are going to discuss again chapter number 9, excess demand and deficient demand. As you know that in my previous video we have discussed meaning of excess demand with the help of diagrammatically representation, and you know that we have also discussed what do you mean by inflationary gap, what do you mean by inflationary gap with the help of diagram. But today we are going to discuss next topic means deficient demand, and today we will discuss deficient demand with the help of a diagram. See, first of all we will see the meaning of deficient demand. See, deficient demand means it refers to the situation when aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply. Means yes, aggregate demand is less than the aggregate supply corresponding to full employment level of output in the economy. So this is the definition of deficient demand. Means it refers to the situation when aggregate demand is less than aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply corresponding to full employment. Full employment means full employment refers to a situation in which everyone gets work, or you can say like this: full employment refers to a situation in which all resources are fully utilized, all resources are fully employed. So this is the meaning of full employment. See, now deficient demand. See, deficient demand creates deflationary gap. Deflationary gap. What do you mean by deflationary gap? See, it refers to the gap by which actual aggregate demand is less than the planned aggregate demand. This is the definition of deflationary gap. Refers to the gap by which actual aggregate demand is less than the planned aggregate demand, or you can say like this, you can write here: to establish full employment equilibrium. Full employment equilibrium. Now we will try to understand the meaning of deflationary gap with the help of diagram. See, this is the x-axis, this is the origin, and this is the y-axis. this is AS, this is AD means C plus I. Assume here point E, and point E means full employment. Full employment. Suppose aggregate demand decreases. Aggregate demand decreases due to decrease in investment. Aggregate demand decreases due to decrease in investment. So new AD curve. New AD curve will lie below AD1. C plus I minus delta I, because aggregate demand decreases due to decrease in investment. Decrease in investment, and you know that increase in investment means delta I, decrease in investment means delta I, and change in investment means delta I. So I hope all of you are aware from means the concept of delta I. See, now take here G and here E1. See, it refers to the gap by which, gap means we are talking about gap between by which actual aggregate demand means this line. Actual aggregate demand is less than the planned aggregate demand, means this is actual aggregate demand line, this is actual aggregate demand line, and this is planned aggregate demand line. So this line means this demand is less than this. So I hope all of you have understood. Means when deflationary gap refers to the gap by which actual aggregate demand is less than planned aggregate demand. So means EG will be considered as deflationary gap. Deflationary gap. So I hope all of you have understood, and you know that when aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply, means see, according to this diagram, means this aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply. But see, according to this diagram. So I hope all of you have understood. See, please pause the video and note down this. See, after this, now point E represents full employment. Point E represents full employment equilibrium. Point E represents full employment equilibrium. But see, now see, you can write after this star. It means deficient demand. It measures, or you can say it means deflationary. It measures, but it represents deficient demand. It measures the deficiency of aggregate demand. Now, what are the features of deficient demand? First of all, deficient demand creates deflationary gap, and deficient demand measures the deficiency of aggregate demand. But my dear students, how will you explain this diagram? How will you explain this diagram? See, I am explaining here. Please listen carefully. Now, in the above diagram, aggregate demand is measured on the y-axis. Aggregate demand is measured on the y-axis, and income, output and employment are measured on the x-axis. I hope this is clear. After this, aggregate demand and aggregate supply curve intersect each other at point E. And point E indicates full employment equilibrium. Full employment equilibrium. Point E indicates full employment equilibrium. See, after this, due to decrease in investment, due to decrease in investment, aggregate demand falls. Aggregate demand falls from AD to AD1. Aggregate demand falls from AD to AD1. AD to AD1. After this, see, aggregate demand falls from AD to AD1, and see, and the gap between them, known as deflationary gap, or you can say deficiency of aggregate demand. Deficiency of aggregate means